Hello, everyone. I hope I don't have to cut this short. But, um, this is a reaction to, let me give it a like, um, one of my favorite, Grady Judd on teen swatting arrest. He's my favorite, police officer. Anyway, let's go.
And as you know, one of the major issues that we're having locally and across the state and across the nation is the swatting. And it starts with gamers, usually teenagers, online, and they're playing games. And one gets mad at the other, or one gets mad because he lost the game to someone, looks up his address, and then he calls the local police department or sheriff's office and talks about a horrific event that occurred. Oh, I've killed my mother and father, I've set the house on fire, I'm burning everybody up. Whatever they say causes a remarkable response of EMS, fire, and or law enforcement, and usually law enforcement. This
Now, I'm just pausing it to say this. I don't care who it is. I don't stand by swatting anybody. And the new swatting is, outside of like the gamer community, is welfare checks. Now, people from the goblin community are going to say something. When you beat up your grandparents, that's sort of different. You're deserving that. And if you have an outburst and say you're going to send yourself to band world, that's on you. So that's for all the goblin community people. Anyway, regular people, no. I don't believe. Number one, you're wasting resources. You're wasting people's time. Hardworking people. You're wasting their time. You're wasting people's like taxpayer money, and it's not funny. That is something that sociopaths and psychopaths do, to falsely say someone's like going to send themselves to band world, saying like they're doing away with their families or things like that. That's not funny. I don't care if it's racialized. I don't care if it's gender. I don't care what it is. I don't stand by it and I don't condone it. That's a bridge too far. Trying to make someone look mentally ill who's not mentally ill. Like, keep poking with someone wanting to do away with themselves. Like, you know what you're doing, and it's evil. To me, people should be, regardless if it's racially motivated or not, you should be charged with murder by proxy. Because you're using the police as your personal lynch mob. And no, I don't condone that at all.
The pandemic has gotten so bad that we do not do a emergency response to something that is announced as being that horrific. We know by patterns and trends, the way they make the phone calls, that there's a 99.9% chance that it is a swatting call and not a real emergency. Our first fear is at some point in time, because there's been so much of this crying wolf through these swatting calls, that there will be a real emergency that needs a real response, and it won't get the appropriate response. Mm-hmm. And then there's always somebody who goes, well, why don't you respond as an emergency to all of them? Because it puts law enforcement officers' lives at risk. It puts fire and EMS life at risk if they're called into the swatting incident. And it puts the homeowners at risk. Many times these calls come after the homeowners have gone to bed at night. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden there's this big rapping on the door, and there's this police response. Well, you wake somebody up in Florida, Polk County, in the middle of the night with a big rap on the door, and it's more likely than not that the homeowner is going to have a gun in his hand on the other side of the door, which can end up in a horrible event.
And look at what Grady Judd just said. He's not shocked by that somebody in America coming to the door with a piece. But every other police officer who's on bullshit is shocked Well, I am an American. Any of them, regardless of skin color, would come to the door after hearing and all this other stuff and seeing red dots float around or threats through a door. Why would they have, that just shows you who's on the level and who's not.
We go to the ends of the earth to solve these crimes, and my detectives, who are the very best, have done exactly that. This was not the most difficult one that we've ever worked, but let me share with you the arrest. Here's what makes these unique. Our suspects are 14 and 15 years of age, and I'm going to give their names, and some of you wimpy stations are going to blur it out, but just get ready to blur because I'm going to do it. And they're from one, Syracuse, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. So I applaud our Department of Juvenile Justice for their work because they actually extradited them here after my detectives were able to get a warrant for their arrest. So get ready to blur, you wimpy stations, okay? Here's Isaiah Reyes. He's 14. He's from Syracuse, New York. And Carderi Martin. He's 15.
Shame on both of them. Shame on the one on the right. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because it happens to black people. Quote unquote, not made up word black people. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. And this is the emotional, and I know it's nothing new. It's not Gen Z. It's been happening. I know in the gamer community with men with fragile egos. I get it all over games and dumb shit. There's no reason to do that anyway. But I'm just saying, just dumb, emotionally fragile. Whatever happened to like breaking your own stuff? Not, oh, I'm mad that I got beaten a game. Let me go like get this person like sent to banned world.
And he's from East Hartford, Connecticut. And let me tell you what occurred. It started on June the 4th at about 7:50 in the evening. Our victim, who lives in the Davenport, Haines City area, was 12 years old, and he was playing a game with Cardi. And that's what he knew him as. He knew his name. These all are in the same gaming group. And for whatever reason, Cardi became mad with our victim, and once the game was over, he then created a swatting incident. He called the Haines City Police.
And this is the point. I'm not going to talk about what happened beforehand, unless this has happened before. He doesn't need any games. He needs his shit bricked like the Goblin. He doesn't need to be online. He doesn't need any games. He needs to find, 14, 15, wait a couple years. At 16, he's going to get a job during the summer. But since he's underage, if he was my kid, I'd find something for him to do. You don't need games. If you want to play games and stay in a child's place, go to Toys R Us. He doesn't need any games.
Apartment.
He's playing too many anyway.
Incorporated area. And
Deadly games.
To us and said, there's a shooting next door. I've heard it before, but it's really bad. And my mother said to call. And they're shooting and they're shooting and they're shooting guns. So of course we went there and determined immediately that it.
If people are shooting guns next door, what does that have to do with me? People, that's the dumbest call. That's actually worse. I actually will put this on Gen Z. You can't even SWAT right. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. People, they're shooting and they're shooting and they're shooting. That's not, there could be a reason why. Like maybe there's an intruder. Maybe like they have a target practice or something in their yard. Like, what? Ugh.
It was a swatting incident. So the investigation's underway. Our detectives get involved in the case on the 4th of June and tell the parents of this victim take his devices away from him, stop him from playing games online, because whether he won the game, whether he and the suspect got into an argument over the game, the bottom line is the victim was a victim because he was playing these games online and made someone mad. That doesn't give them the right to come back and violate the law, commit a second-degree felony and a third-degree felony by swatting. Well, lo and behold, on June the 5th, the very next...
You notice he said felony in the state of Florida. Florida don't play. I want to look up what swatting is here. But Florida don't play these games. They don't want to go to Toys R Us. They don't play.
Hey, there's another swatting incident to the same victim. This time, the call goes into the Kissimmee Police Department. Kissimmee determines, hey, that's in Polk County, notifies the sheriff's office. This was a more sinister call by Isaiah Reyes. What he said was this: my wife didn't cook dinner tonight. And because she didn't cook dinner tonight, and because she set my clothes on fire as a result of an argument, I've taken a shotgun and killed my wife and killed the children.
That is a sick child. That is sick. What kid even thinks to even come up with shit like that? At 14, I didn't know about, like, domestic abuse and stuff like that. Especially not, like, I might have known, like, the putting hands on people, like, you shouldn't do that. Like, the bare bones of it. That is sick. It's sick. Take the games. Y'all need to start putting your, and I get it, but if they're so fascinated with violence, y'all need to start preparing your boys for the military. Since they want to talk about, band worlds and shooting and all this other stuff, put their minds to good use. College is too expensive. I get that. Do something with them. Put them to work on a farm, baling hay, something, splitting rails. I don't know. Planting trees. I don't know. Do something. This is ridiculous. That's sick. That a boy would even think. That's the bullshit. I don't like any of it. That's some bullshit. He doesn't need any games. And if that was my kid, you'll get your gaming system when you get a job and you can pay for your own. I'm not going to tell my child when they have a job what they can and can't buy, but because it's their money, you're going to pay the however much, $300 for an Xbox or whatever you're using. The $1,000 for the PS6, PS5 Pro, whatever you're doing. I don't know how much the Pro is now, but no. And it's still my house at the end of the day. I don't believe in throwing out kids before they're ready, but if you're bringing trouble to my front door, either you get out or there will be no gaming in my house, period, because it is my house. I pay the bills. Even if you help pay, like, some bills, which for me, like, that's a totally different conversation, it's still my house. No. Absolutely not.
And that's the kind of bizarreness we hear often. So, of course, we responded back to the residents. There's the victim. He's online playing with who we determined through the investigation as Isaiah Reyes. So we start following this case back. We tell the parents, what did we tell you yesterday? We told you to take your 12-year-old's devices away from them and stop them from playing online, because he is in arguments with people, and these folks, two of them back to back, decide they will swat his.
Sounds like someone else who won't get off the internet, but is so victimized. At some point, you are a willing participant. The first time the game should have just been gone away with. He doesn't have a job. He's not old enough to work. If grandma bought him shit or whatever, it's my house. I'm not going to have police running up in my house because of your male stupidity that you just want to, and it's not, I'm not saying it's male, I'm saying that whatever, arguing with people over games, or you're just so mentally deficient that you like arguing with people online. Like, no.
House. Now, here's what we figure out as the investigation goes on. Because our 12-year-old has been gaming so long, he'd actually created a friendship with this guy. And this guy and his parents, or his parent, his dad, had actually come down here and interacted with the victim and his parent.
Weird.
So they were no strangers. But here's what's interesting. Because of their conduct, they committed this false report of a violent use of a firearm, which is a second-degree felony, and they created an unlawful use of a two-way device, which is a third-degree felony. And they're both of them, which this is what's remarkable. I thought New York, Connecticut will never be able to extradite from those two states. They're going to say, oh, because we think crime and criminals are okay, but you look at the crime rates up there and you'll see they'll never extradite. But I want to compliment New York and Connecticut. They respected our warrants. They respected our criminal justice system. Their system respected our system and made these two juveniles available. And we flew them back, and they're currently in custody now, waiting on court action in Bartow, Florida. But I want to share this with parents. Parents, your kids are online gaming, and then they get in these squabbles and fights. And then they decide that, hey, I'm going to SWAT and create stress and anxiety for the kid, for the parents, for whoever's at the house. This is a very, very dangerous event.
It's one thing, like a lot of the situations where you're just a kid playing a game and somebody just is nuts and goes after you. They're doing tit for tat with each other. That's different. That's different. If it's just one nasty individual, okay. But this is some like, it's so childish. It's so disgusting. It's a lot of things. Anyway.
There have been serious vehicle crashes with police officers and deputies rushing.
And you could get your parents killed over a video game. And I do fault you. When it happens again, you won't get offline. And he's right. It does not. Nothing gives someone the right to do anything criminal or wrong to you just because they don't like you. That does not give anybody the right. It doesn't. But at what point do you say, this person is nuts, and I don't play with nutbags, so I'm just going to give the nutbag what they want? They seem to want this gaming lobby or whatever that it is. It's one thing if you're being stalked. That's a different conversation. But I'm just going to give this nutbag this gaming lobby because they seem to need to game an awful lot, to the point they're willing to have people lie dead over games, over COD or whatever game it is, or Doom or whatever. I'm going to let them have it. And I get I'm saying that from an adult perspective, but I blame the parents were told to get the kid offline, and they refuse. So is it worth your life as a parent? And I get that you, and I'm not even a parent. I would say Why is my kid being punished for some idiot who's not being raised right? Okay, fine, but even there's a saying in the two-way community, right? And something my dad said to me when I was learning to drive. First one, there's a lot of right people laying in the morgue. Two, something my dad said, what good is your right of way if you're dead?
The scenes, thinking they had a horrific immediate event. There have been all kinds of call-outs, EMS, fire, SWAT teams at some of these swatting incidents across the United States to find out they're fake. There's nothing to them. But you risk the law enforcement officers' lives, the paramedics, the firefighters' lives, and the victims in the house that more times than not are in bed asleep when this thing occurs. Parents, we need your help. Lock down the machines. Don't allow them to play games with people across the United States. If they want to play a game, let them play with their friend little Johnny next door.
You don't have to play online. You don't have pick games where you don't have to. Like, I can play Dark Souls or Bloodborne offline and just play it by myself. Now, COD and other stuff you have to play online, but every game you don't have to play online. You don't. Or do the handheld where, you don't have to play Animal Crossing online or whatever. Obviously, you're not going to argue over that, but you get the point.
Where you know the parents and they know you, and stop this online gaming that's leading to these horrible events. Now, we don't solve all of them because sometimes they're gaming overseas. Sometimes we are not able to determine who our people are because the gamers don't necessarily know each other. Fortunately, they did in this instance.
I'm gonna have to go. I'll see y'all later.